The devil, often referred to as Satan or Lucifer, is a spiritual entity known for his opposition to God and his efforts to lead humanity away from divine truth. One of the most intriguing aspects of Satan's nature is his apparent focus on targeting Christians, attempting to turn them away from their faith and towards a more satanic path. This phenomenon can be understood by examining the biblical narrative, the nature of spiritual warfare, and the ultimate goals of the devil. According to the Bible, Satan is a fallen angel who rebelled against God, seeking to elevate himself above his creator. As a result, he was cast out of heaven and has since dedicated himself to opposing God's plans and ruining his creation. One of the primary ways Satan achieves this is by targeting those who have dedicated their lives to following God, namely Christians. By corrupting and deceiving Christians, Satan aims to undermine the credibility of God's message and destroy the faith of those who have put their trust in him. The devil's strategy for targeting Christians is multifaceted. He often begins by sowing seeds of doubt and uncertainty, using subtle lies and half-truths to erode a believer's confidence in their faith. This can be seen in the way he tempted Jesus in the wilderness, using scripture to twist and distort God's message. Similarly, Satan uses social and cultural pressures to push Christians towards compromise and conformity with the world, gradually drawing them away from their commitment to God. Another key tactic employed by the devil is the use of temptation and seduction. He knows that every person has inherent weaknesses and desires, and he skillfully exploits these vulnerabilities to lead Christians astray. By presenting sinful and worldly pleasures as appealing and attractive, Satan can lure believers into a lifestyle of sin and rebellion, slowly corrupting their hearts and minds. This is evident in the way he tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden, using her desire for knowledge and autonomy to lead her into disobedience. The ultimate goal of the devil's efforts is not simply to lead Christians into sin, but to transform them into agents of darkness, working to further his own agenda. By corrupting and deceiving believers, Satan aims to create a counterfeit version of Christianity, one that masquerades as a real thing but is actually driven by his own malevolent spirit. This is why we often see Christians who have been seduced by the devil's lies and deceptions, using their influence and platform to spread a watered-down or distorted version of the gospel. The Bible warns believers about the dangers of Satan's schemes, urging them to remain vigilant and alert to his tactics. In Ephesians 6:18, the Apostle Paul writes about the importance of spiritual armor, emphasizing the need for Christians to put on the full armor of God in order to resist the devil's attacks. This includes the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the belt of truth, and the shoes of the gospel of peace. By equipping themselves with these spiritual defenses, believers can protect themselves from the devil's lies and deceptions, standing firm against his attempts to lead them astray. In conclusion, the devil targets Christians because they are a threat to his power and authority. By spreading God's message and living a life of obedience to him, believers pose a significant challenge to Satan's plans and ambitions. The devil's strategy is to corrupt and deceive Christians, using a range of tactics to lead them away from their faith and towards a more satanic path. However, by understanding the nature of spiritual warfare and equipping themselves with spiritual armor, believers can resist the devil's attacks and remain faithful to their Lord. As the Bible reminds us, we are not ignorant of his schemes, and with the power of God on our side, we can overcome the devil's efforts and emerge victorious in the end.